Welcome to Watercolor Lessons with Kathy. I'm Kathy Nichols, and I'm a lifelong artist, painter, and teacher. I help students of all ages tap into their creativity with watercolor. Watercolor is a great way to express yourself, and it's easy to get started and fun to do. I hope you join me to learn how to paint with watercolor. I can't wait to see your paintings. Welcome to the next lesson in our bird series. Today, we'll paint a wood duck. Wood ducks have striking colors and markings, and I enjoy seeing them and painting them. We'll use 3 brushes, 7 paints, and 4 techniques. Be sure to check below for useful information and links. I have my paints and everything set up, ready to go. Let's go. Take your spray bottle, paint your pans of paint here. Spray some water on your palette. And let's paint a wood duck. Pick up your round with pointed tip brush, and we will start with a light sketch by using the ochre. Load your brush with the ochre. So start with the outline of the wood duck. It's a little dark. Water that down a little bit. Here's the head. Has a little bit of a tail there. Then the beak comes out. It's kind of a flat beak. And it's straight at the bottom, coming around to the neck, down, then the body, coming back here on the head, making the neck. Rest of the body has a little bit of a wing pop out there, and another set of wing there, sitting in the water. Like so. Okay, so there's the basic shape of the wood duck. Then the wood duck is sitting in the water. So right now we want to stop and dry that. So take your hair dryer. Now we will turn our attention to doing the sky and then the water come down. And we will take our mop brush, pick up your mop brush and load it. Now with the sky, there's a little bit of a color and there's a slight orange tinge to it. So load your mop with some cadmium red. And start at the top. I want that to be a little darker, so I'm reloading my brush here. Then load your mop with cadmium yellow, and you can let it mix in with the cadmium red. And just kind of blend it and go around the wood duck. Like so. Now let's start to put some blue in, ultramarine blue. It's a little strong, so I added water to my brush. That was way too bright, but easy fix. Just water it down and spread the paint. If you don't like where the water is pooling, you can dab it. Like so. Okay. Now you will want to dry it again. Now let's turn our attention to the wood duck. They're very striking and have definite marks. So let's start with the beak and work on that. So take your round with pointed tip brush and load it with cadmium yellow. And there's a little bit yellow on the beak. Not a lot, but right on the tip of the beak, like so. And then once the yellow, it turns to cadmium red. So load your brush with cadmium red right beneath the yellow. Now mine is running a little bit, but that's okay. Letting it run a little bit. And then it goes further down the beak, and then it turns white, almost a gray color. But we'll work on that detail a little bit later. Now, when you look at the wood duck, and you look at the eye, it's the color of cadmium red. So load your brush, your round with pointed tip brush, and the beak is here and the eye is about right there. And just do a circle. Now we're going to come back to that and work on it. But go ahead and just make a circle like so. Okay. Clean your brush. Now, the wood duck has some areas of white. And on the head, it's a blue greenish color. So we will start with loading you around with pointed tip brush with Sap Green. And we'll start right here by the neck. To the eye and where the beak is. And there's a little white underneath the beak. So I'm going to leave a space there. And then come above the beak. Like so. Now, oh, that's running a little bit, so I'm going to mop it with my brush. I don't want it to go into the yellow. Now the wood duck has a white stripe, too, actually, on the head. And one actually shoots off by the eye, and one comes down below here, and one above here. So let's first work on the one that's on the top of the head here. So it's about there, and it comes around to about that, there. Now this, I want a little more of the white here. So I'm gonna, you can dry your brush and pick up some of the paint. Like that. Load your round with pointed tip brush with more Sap Green. And then go below here. Now the second stripe is off here by the eye. So it's kind of like that. I'm going to fill in this middle spot, like so. And then there's a little down here. Now this part here is darker, but I'm gonna remember with doing watercolors, you're doing layers. So I'm building a light layer here and we'll come back and darken it. And there's a line on the neck, about right there. And then it has a ring around the neck, so I'm going to leave this part white, and it comes up and around like so. I'm going to leave it like that for now. And this is just the base of getting things done, and again working in layers. Now take your round with pointed tip brush and load it with burnt sienna. So there's a ring on the neck. So I'm going to leave a white space right there. And then coming down like so. Okay. Now when I look at the wood duck, there's another section here, and it's the color of ochre. So take your round with pointed tip brush, load it with ochre. And it's about this size and shape here. And right there is another color and a slight white line. Like so. Now, the part here is kind of a dark bluish color. So take your round with pointed tip brush with ultramarine blue and use some burnt umber. Making a little mixture here on my palette. And when you come down to this area, leave a little white space. Now I just added water to my brush to spread more of the paint. And I will want to go back to make some darker areas. And again, that's building the layers here. So taking more of the mixture, ultramarine blue, the burnt umber, and just a touch of the sap green. Not a lot. And there's a second part here. That is a little too blue to me. So that is an easy fix. Add a little more of the sap green to the mixture here on my palette with some of the burnt umber. That's better. And I'm leaving some white areas there. Go back and put some of that color here. Now I take some of that color, and now we can go back where the head is, and we'll add a layer on top of there. Now this part is almost a black, so I want to take some of my mixture here and add some burnt umber. I'm putting some burnt umber off to the side here and taking a little of that mixture with the burnt umber. And that makes it the dark color I want. Like so. Now I'm adding a little of the dark color right below here. Just a touch. Okay. So with that dark color, load your round with pointed tip brush with that same color. And right here, there's some marks. Kind of like that, like a band in the wing. Like so. Now clean your brush and load it with some burnt sienna. Now this neck right here, I want to add some texture. So I'm adding little marks like they're feathers. And I'm bringing up the line so there's a little more definition on the neck. And bring the beak out more. But we're going to come back to that with the liner. It's a little dark. I'm just wetting my brush. Picking up some of the paint like so. Now I want to stop and give it a good dry. Now pick up your liner brush and we'll work on the eye. Now the eye, there's some dark areas. So we want to use that mixture of the burnt umber and the blue, not so much green. And the eye, there's a black circle there. So I'm going to create that like so, and then there's a ring around that circle, like that. Now I'm using some of that darkness. There's a little shadow above the eye there. So I'm going to create that and bring it down here, like so. Then take some of that mixture and go on the other side here on the eye. Doing the same thing. Just some little touches here. You don't need much. Like so. Bring that color out a little bit to here. A little bit on the end here. Just a dab. Okay. Clean your brush. Now the beak. Let's work on the beak. I want to make that orange a little brighter, cadmium red. So I'm going to make that brighter and extend out a little bit, like so. And then take some of that dark mixture and do a little bit of outline of the beak. Now on the end there's kind of like a little hook where it kind of dips down like so. So do that. Now that line is a little dark to me, so I'm going to just gently add some water to it to spread it like so. And then there's a little indentation a little bit by the beak right there. So I'm just adding a faint indentation, taking a little bit more of the mixture there. Again, if it's too dark, you can just wet your brush, wipe it, and then dab it on there like that. It's hard not to fiddle with it too much. I think I liked it before, but oh well. I still like it. Still, I want to pick up a little more like that, like so. Okay. Now let's work on the water. Now, wood ducks are found in marshes, so we need to add some marsh kind of plant here. So let's take our round with this pointed tip brush, stir it with ochre, and put some off to the side here. And I'm making it go all the way to the top of the page. One there, one here, and another one here, like so. Then these have stray stalks that go off, so they kind of bend. So again, I'm just kind of using the ochre as a light sketch. Now I'm going to need to add some color, more color and definition to that. And we will do that. Like so. Actually, we're going to let that dry and work on another part of the painting, the water. So clean your brush, load it with the ultramarine blue, and there are shadows where the duck is sitting. That's a little too blue, so I will add a little sap green to it. And then water it down. So there's a shadow and ripples from the water. So you can start on the base of where the wood duck is sitting and add some darkness there. And then right here, he's pushing through the water. So we want to add some shadow there, like so. And then have the shadow come back here, like this. So it looks like the wood duck is pushing through the water. Having a fun day. I hope you're having a fun day. Now I'm adding some by the marsh plant here. Just a little bit like that. Okay. Now clean your brush and let's go back to the marsh. I think I want to dry, so don't have the paint that I just painted run. So let's take the liner, pick up your liner brush. mix some of the ochre with the burnt sienna. Make it a little darker. And so on the marsh plant, I'm drawing a line so that it gives the illusion that there's a shadow there. Or it could be part of the plant, depending on which way you want to look at it. And just adding some definition to the plant there. Okay. Now that I look at that, I see that I want to put more shadows, like on the base here of the plant. So take some of your ultramarine blue and put a touch of the burnt umber. Right. Okay, so below here, the wood duck has a tail, and there's a little shadow and it's dark. So you want to take your mixture here that you have of burnt sienna, the ultramarine blue, and use both the browns, the sienna and the umber. And start at the tip there and come down like so. Carry it along the bottom here. Now, excuse me, on the duck there's a little bit of the cadmium red right here, just a touch. So load your liner with cadmium red, and we're going to put some here. Now that's a little strong, so I'll need to water that down. That's too watered. It's kind of a test. Now there's almost some of that sienna color to it, burnt sienna, so I'm adding a little bit of that. like so. Then again, stand back from your painting to look at it and see what you think. Now there's some little things I think, well, I could, or that's okay. When I stand back and look at it, it makes me smile. And I hope when you look at yours, it makes you smile too. Thanks for joining me today. I enjoyed painting with you today, and I hope you enjoyed it too. To send me photos of your creations, email them to the address in the description. To be notified when there's a new lesson, be sure to subscribe, tap the bell, and hit like. Please join me next time when we'll paint a majestic bald eagle. Take care, be safe, and see you soon.